Hello everybody, my name is thetroublmaker. If you are just joining, watching this game first, definitely check out the previous match. You'll get to see a really cool, creative, awesome rush that wasn't intended to kill. It was just a generic opening that just was very super effective. Definitely check it out. Nebo, Psycho Mad Dog Killer is his new nickname. In the meantime, watch this match right now. It is a NATO versus Pact between a guy who I selected from the archive only because his name is Johnny Steak, and his opponent not selected for his name because of how completely unpronounceable it is Mr. Sindel Jaeger. Sindel Jaeger. His name is Jaeger. So both these players are about 1700 ELO, not quite as high as Nebo and Zombie Pigman, but both still very good in their own respects. And Lodic's looking so good so far. We have 3 mortars out for Johnny Steak, who's going for that early mortar play, and airborne infantry for Mr. Shindil J. And lots of AA, 2 Bukmis, 2 Tunguskas, and a small cache of tanks. This could be very problematic for Mr. Shindil J. Jaeger. As we see Johnny Steak is moving out. He has his own small collection of AA. And he's firing his lobs. No. Actually, the Rolands are going to try and pick off this airborne infantry unit. And oh god, Sindel Jaeger, what are you doing? He's rushing in with his recon unit. He can't lose this. This is not a unit you want to lose early on. They're very expensive, hard to replace. Spetsnaz are getting picked off now by who are higher Helgelvernes. Yes, clearly a Swedish deck right here, as they should be able to pretty convincingly pick off this Spetsnaz. Russian Special Forces. But here comes the remaining of the gang. We have 8 more infantry and 2 tanks coming in, join the fray. But keep in mind, Johnny Steak already has positioned the town, so it's going to be a little bit of a town war here with the awesome special effects. Look at the bullets. They're huge. These are the highest caliber bullets I've ever seen. Motostrelki finally deployed. And there's another group of Motostrelki coming. Here comes the mortars, though. The Lob M mortars doing the damage. Getting some nice shots off some of these infantry. One squad does go down. Now, notice the great micro here, however, and decision making by Jaeger. Going to move these vehicles along the back so they're not going to be clearly targeted. But whoa, a little bit of overextension. The Abrams is pushing forward, picking off what it can. It's a little bit of a tank versus an anti-infantry vehicle, and we all know how that goes. One of the the hires wads down. There's only one remaining. The motors are doing some damage, but with the loss of a lot of vehicles, it's going to be very hard for this to be worthwhile. Already we're seeing a 160 point lead from Johnny Steak. Should be Johnny Streak, who really isn't making good use of these mortars. Here comes some Lynxes and a Freedom Fighter as well. Freedom Fighter running right into the AA, and ooh, he pays the ultimate price. The iron price. 1 T-80U coming in here to join the fray. And we're going to see more Lynxes moving to the front. These, of course, are your airborne infantry units. They do come with some awesome Gatling guns, firing rockets on this tank. Not stunned yet. And the higher Hezbollah squad goes down. So a little bit of a stalemate. However, the position will in fact go to Johnny Steak here, who does reclaim the space and is able to capture it. Superior position, of course, goes to Jaeger, but he did it at quite a high cost. He does gain a foothold into this middle Charlie base while completely securing his Echo base. Note some really great placements of recon here from Johnny Steak. He has 1 airborne recon right here. And does it spot anything here? Exactly, not really. But he's using this to spot for any kind of movements down this path here. So he can very quickly rally out and fix stuff. Very good positioning. Hopefully it keeps it around this area and doesn't do anything foolish like move it away. Still not really making good use of these airborne infantry units. Still deployed inside their Lynxes. We see a Super Intendard moving in, trying to pick off one of these air units, and whoa, loses one of those. They are quite expensive. Maybe this is just bait, and good bait it is. Fusiliers are deployed in this town, trying to clean up this Motostoki before it does too much damage. There's still a tank here, surprisingly. Not a lot of ammunition left on it. It's about 75% full, so it won't be able to survive a full engagement with a really big tank. So as we hit the mid-game, things will slow down just a little bit. This map might look familiar. It's a map from the last game. The last game, of course, was a rush, and these one-point bases might come into play or they may not. They're kind of interesting because they're very risky to take because of their awkward positioning. But if you can grab one of these with like a helo command, you could do a very crazy flank into the enemy bases. But they're very risky to take. Whereas like you see here, this one here would be a jump into this base. If they come into play, that'd be cool, but I wouldn't hold your breath. They're not high point value. They don't do a lot. Yes, they are a fast reinforcement point to the attacking area, but they're not that advantageous. They have to be taken pretty darn early on to be worthwhile. Law of M's overshot a little bit. A tank is trying to catch up with them. We see that the helicopters might be able to get a pick off. All the Motoshokis are down. One helicopter actually went down to some AA fire, some Tunguska, and we got a stun on the tank. The Law of M's are successful in retreating. But really, still just ignoring this tank here completely. Looks like he's trying to bring in a command vehicle to kill it. That's not right. That's not right, Troublemaker. He's got to be bringing in a tank or something, because he seems to be bringing this command vehicle in the line of fire of Sindri, of Jaeger. And in fact, he couldn't see it and will get the kill finally. So things have pretty well been cleaned up. The map looks pretty 50-50-ish. A lot of Tunguskas moving forward with a T-80U supporting two T-80Us. This could be a T-80U Fiesta. Yes, that does sound dirty. Note we have Mr. Steak going to try and clear up this road here, and he might actually try and grab this command here. Of course, it is a very risky command to tank, but the benefits of it are pretty high. It gives you a striking point to hit this Foxtrot. If you have a striking point to hit this Foxtrot, the number of forces you'd have in the middle would be limited. If the number of forces in the middle are limited, that means you're more likely to break the middle. And look at this, it's a freedom fighter. Jetting across, he is. Bringing with him American values, freedom and liberty. And I think this is actually a grounded. No, he booked it up, he's moving. It's gone! The freedom fighter does hit the target. He should be able to escape. Evac is ordered. Bookme's are completely out of ammunition. The Tunguska is not even firing. The freedom fighter is out of there. And a successful hit by Johnny Steak, who is now completely solidified this alpha location. Might slide a command armor in here. And all the while, he's got these PV Group RB56s, which are pretty good. I think they're Swedish, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, they are. I think this might be in... No, it's not entire, but yeah, there's a lot of Swedish units here. These are some of the better of the Swedish units. Much higher quality than most of the stuff you see in a typical Swede deck. Saracen gonna rush forward, see what he can find. Looks like it's pretty empty and open, and knows this by basically information they would not otherwise have. Oh my god, such as, my vehicle didn't instantly die. There must not be a lot of stuff there. So here comes some of these awesome Swede units just firing away. They were able to drop one of the T-80Us to 1 hit point. Kind of scary, kind of ruination of gaming. So we have more recon moving forward. Recon, of course, is very valuable. Information is valuable. And it looks like tanks. Just really using these Saracens to try to get an idea of where things are. And he's kind of seeing there's 2 small packs of infantry here. That's what he's seeing. An infantry squad rushing forward. Not going to be the best choice. Motostoki, however, does get in. Should get cleaned up pretty fast. There's a lot of Fusiliers around here. And there's anything I know with the Fusiliers. They hate Moto Strelki. Some long distance tank fire. T-80 is trying to get healed up here from the supply trucks. It's going to take a lot of resources to completely heal that up. It only had 1 hit point left on it. And some mortar fire on these tanks shouldn't be terribly effective. Fusilier squad actually might go down, and this Modus Jockey might have found the beachhead that he needs. Of course, if you have a unit here, this will give you vision of anything that moves forward, and it means that your tanks will be able to hit from a very, very long range. And that, of course, is good. Currently doesn't see anything. Johnny Streak does see quite a bit. He does know there's an infantry here. He does know there's some tanks here. Here comes a BMPT. We haven't seen this bad boy in a while. Here comes a BMPT. These, of course, used to be the bad boys of the Old West. They used to pretty well be the only unit that Soviet made. T-80Us and PTs together, and they just rocked. And still no taking of either of these bases. Not surprising. Just disappointing. It's always nice to see something different. As I creak my chair forward in anticipation of this 2 tanks rushing forward, completely dodging all the mortar fire into the squad of Fusiliers. Is this a wise choice? The answer is clearly no. No, it's not really a wise choice. They're now stunned. The Fusiliers are going to be able to clean this up. Leopard 2A4s could finish it off as well, as they do a ton of damage. Those weren't very expensive tanks, I should note. It's not game-ending losses there. But it is enough to keep Johnny Steak in the lead. All the while, though, we have Jaeger. It's a great name, Jaeger. Is coming back, so that's something. Leopards are coming around this flank. Note, this is a weird cliff. Can't be spotted until they get too close. And in fact, now here they are. Too close. They're too close. And these T-80s will have to get pulled back. Now here's the important part. Is he using the reverse command? He is. He in fact is, but he loses one of his T-80s to one of these Leopard 2A4s. And he's in risk of losing the second one. Ah! Okay, it survives. It survives with 2 or 3 hit points left over, and the Leopards are proving to be very cost effective. Still, 1 Modus Jockey squad left in here. Odd little fact. He doesn't necessarily have to fire RPGs at vehicles, because it's possible that this guy might not be holding an RPG. Yeah, they don't all hold RPGs. That's a really weird bottom line about the game. So that Modus Jockey does get cleaned up. Pretty good trade here for Johnny Steak. Trading these Leopards very effectively with... Actually, he's not trading, he's killing. Just murdering. T-80 once again trying to get healed up through these Ural 4320s. Interesting fact, you should always go for the more expensive carriers because they carry more supply and they give you more bang for your buck. So looks like we'll have a little more preparation for another battle. I mean, it seems to me that Jaeger is a man after my heart. He wants to get very aggressive, but he's getting very aggressive into a very bad position. Whereas Johnny State kind of has all his bases covered. He's stacking up those tanks, bringing in more of these Abrams to match up with his Leopards, and both players kind of preparing for that late game tank rush. Except with Jaeger, he's just going for it now. He says, screw it. He's got some PTR Conquerors here to try and add a little bit of extra cheap rocket fire and basically hit anything he can. Lots of anti-infantry. These are for bulk. And bulk is kind of important. These vehicles probably won't do too much in the game. Adding a little bit of extra fire is always awesome. Modus Jockey's actually walking in, and T-80Us, 2 of them, hitting from the back. The Leopards and the Abrams are pushing forward. There's a lot of stuff out in the open that they can easily clean up. We see some infantry will go down, and we have 1 deployed. So far, so bad. Johnny Steak is in a considerable lead. Leopards coming along the side. Abrams not really in use right now. Rockets are running low for Johnny Steak as the push continues forward. Remember, once again, this is an invisible point. This is not a place in which we can have some fire from Jaeger. He doesn't know this is here. So they can always come along this ridge, this invisible ridge here, and just pick off whatever units they can at close range. A big value for a tank that's very heavily armored, very vulnerable to rockets. So he's waiting for the T-80s to move up before he pushes. He's being very cautious here. The Abrams, on the other hand, are soaking all those damaged rockets. firing back, and here comes the leopards. He's propelling, he's using the trap. The trap card is deployed. Here comes the leopard, firing on his TADUs, side armor shots, which means he's getting the bonus damage, and he should be able to clean up at least one of them minimum. He might be able to get the second one. It's pretty low as well. He might not be able to say, oh my god, 2 TADUs down, and he just pulls back. Very smart play by Johnny Steak, showing us, teaching us about these ridges, showing us that you can in fact deploy little trap cards in this little ridge here. This will be one of those maps that gets studied very, very hard, because it has a lot of these little cool things, and Johnny Steak showing something new, showing a little bit of a not exploit, taking out 2 TADUs in exchange for 1 Leopard 2A4. Still has an Abrams, 2 Abrams actually, and he's going to continue pushing this forward a little bit to try and inch in and grab some more hits. These Moto Strokies will in fact die to the higher Hizmet Hivmet Danay. Really? Is that at all necessary? Denmark? Why do you have to have such ridiculous named units? Why can't you be like the Americans and the French and the Canadians and just have simple names? For example, when the Americans name a unit, they call it a Marine or a Ranger. When the French, they call it, that's the British. The British call it a Fusiliers. The French, Chasseurs. Canadians, well, here's an embarrassing note. I don't really know what the Canadians do call their units. But they're simple names. And then you come in here, Denmark, with your higher Hishmit. I mean, how are you supposed to say that in a normal tactical matter? Deploy the Herr Hitchmeknemnes. By the time you do this phonetically, and keep in mind, it's H as in hotel, U as in A as in Alpha, E as in Echo, R as in Romeo, H as in Hotel, J as in Juliet. By the time you finish that, the war will be over. Shame on you. The people of Denmark deserve shorter names that are cool and simpler and can be said epically. And keep in mind, he's killed 3 TADUs so far, and here comes the final one. This is the final TADU that can be deployed. He's killed a lot. There's 500 points left until this match is over. It was 20 minutes left in the match. If Jaeger is at all intelligent, he should probably try and do a different attack. These are 1-point vehicles, and you're probably wondering, why are these 1-point vehicles here and they're empty? Well, quite simple. He's actually looking for positions. So when you go to the Johnny Cam, he now immediately sees 1 BMPT here and 1 thing in the woods here. Well worth 3 points. Absolutely worth 3 points. It's not exploitative. It's not, evil or anything like that. It's kind of something that everyone does with those 1-point vehicles, because the 1-point vehicles are kind of useless and run out of value. He traded 3 points to get information on where 1 BMPT is and 1 TADU is. Now he can do things like bomb these areas if he has bombers available. He can shell them if he has artillery. And he's in fact going for the shelling option, already shaking that TADU. So Johnny Steak really has actually been just outclassing his opponent with just great map knowledge, which is not something you even talk about in this game. You never talk about map knowledge. Speaking of which, look at all these great recon units being deployed all over the place. Actually, Jaeger actually forfeits to Johnny Steak. 600-point lead, great position, completely unstoppable. Johnny Steak is now on my watch list because he is an interesting guy who knows stuff in places. My name is Troublemaker. Thank you guys for watching these matches this week. I have a tutorial coming out tomorrow. It will be on airborne infantry, and it is awesome. Make sure to watch that. It might have some tidbits that you're unaware of, or it might be full of stuff that you already know. Thank you guys once again. See you next week.